A man who constantly has that not-so-fresh feeling. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The choice but to get on. A mandate to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Love that about you. Right, Gina Grass?
That's right.
Handball Brian. Bald.
Close call there.
Back. How many days in the hospital?
Oh, fuck.
4
Well,
maybe?
this is why we're getting Christy on the phone, because
good.
much of my health ordeal, I was not lucid for. I was not present for. But into the ER on Tuesday night, I believe, 24 hours in the ER, and then finally whisked away to a hospital room where I think I got out on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Tuesday to Saturday was the hospital stay.
How was Maui?
It was awesome. Oh my God.
Son of a
First time
bitch.
there.
They give
loved
you the
it.
lei when you got off the plane?
No, you have to pay for that. But at the luau at Feast of Lele, I got the fresh lei. I brought it home. I
Lay
wet
in a
a paper
hospital bed
towel
for 5
and I
days.
put it in a
She's
box.
It's her turn now.
And now, so I brought it home, and it's like it's like I got
Stay
it
at the
today.
Grand Wailea?
No, it's a little pricey for us. but-
Howie Mandel's catamaran?
No, but I did go on a catamaran for the first time in my
Awesome.
life. I got to sit.
Awesome.
I laid on the
You
net.
lay
on the net. You lay
it
at the net.
was gorgeous. You could see Lanai and Molokai.
Oh, you ever
right
been on
in
the
front of
net
you.
in a catamaran?
I have. I dreamt that I was floating and kind of just, suspended in midair.
Anyway, the water was so warm.
Yeah,
it
I don't know
felt
if it's
like
actually
a
a
bathtub.
dream.
It
Stay
was
away
amazing.
from the turtles.
Oh, yeah.
You can only go within 10 feet of the turtles.
We were told, and you cannot go in the water if it's been raining because sharks might get you.
Brian, you ever been closer than 10 foot to a sea turtle?
No, it's funny. They actually told me upon discharge to stay 6 feet away from my daughter for 24 hours because I was radioactive.
It's
When you
weird
checked
'cause-
out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
when
a
I
little.
checked-
I got a little closer to the turtles. They were so.
What'd you do?
cute.
Do Mai Tais? What were
Oh
you drinking?
my God, Mai Tais and all the punches and the Bloody Mary at the hotel was literally the greatest Bloody Mary
I don't know
I've
if
ever
you're a
had.
big Flintstones fan, but I always like to say, please pass the boy.
Also a 24-hour
Buffet
cocktail.
or continental breakfast?
Continental. We would go down to the restaurant every morning, have the greatest smoked salmon. I did an ahi
Hold on, Brian,
eggs
what
Benedict.
color was the jello?
I got a cocktail drip every 24 hours.
That's totally
So it was
different.
awesome.
It was amazing.
Awesome. Did you
I
guys
feel
rent
so
a Jeep?
refreshed. No, we actually just Ubered everywhere like the prince and princess we are.
Oh,
really
so
just needed
I
awesome.
got
to
pushed around
relax.
in a wheelchair by the
So
orderlies.
awesome.
Yeah, Uber's great there. They're everywhere. Plentiful. Went to Monkey Pod, great restaurant. Lots of great
yeah.
restaurants. Went to a little fish market by myself. Had the
it's
greatest.
like an Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, I feel like
So
I get
rejuvenated, so
absolute-
refreshed.
Had the greatest massage of my life. I thought I was levitating.
Okay, well, I got to talk about Red Turnout.
Please.
So in the ER for one night, and then
No,
two
dude, I was
nights-
in the ER for close to 24 hours.
Oh well, for
I went to the ER
one day.
at Christy's on the line. You want to
Oh, is she
punch
on?
her up? She can.
okay.
She'll tell you anything.
and
you
then
wanna know.
moved to a room.
shed some light.
Christy,
Hello.
loving partner.
Oh my God, hero,
Hero,
lifesaver,
saint.
lifesaver.
You know,
Adam, I prefer lifesaver.
Lifesaver.
This time.
You really are a hero. I gotta say, if Bob Saget had Christy
Oh.
with
Ah.
him
boy.
that night,
shoot.
he'd
be on the
probably
show
still be
today.
alive because
No, you're right.
a lot of decisions are made when guys are alone to go, I'm fine,
I'm
I'm
gonna lay
going
down."
to bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Dude, put a pin in that because that is the fulcrum to the story. So I was feeling really crappy like Thursday and Friday of whatever week it was, the 11th or whatever it was. Those last two shows with John Reap and Harlan Williams, I was really struggling. I was feeling sick.
We could
just
tell comically.
Yeah, I wasn't there mentally. And when I got home, I just said to Christy, I got to sleep. I got to take a nap. I got to go to bed. And I think I slept most of that weekend. And when Monday rolled around, I was still so sick that I did what I never do. I called or texted Chris and I was like, man, I can't come in today. I'm really sick. He's like, all right, get well soon. And I slept more. And here's the weird thing. I was having these flu symptoms, all the classics, right? All the
chills,
body
the
aches, the
aches.
chills, the everything. But it was exacerbating my tumor symptoms. Like it was as though it was 2009 all over again and I just finished radiation. I was having double vision. Like driving to work became hazardous. And I'm like, I don't know how much longer I can do this before something has to give. And I called out him the next day on Tuesday, and I was like, basically said, hey, man, I am not at my best. I think I'm hurting the show at this point just by being there, more than normal, just by being there. And I need to take a couple of days off and get right. And he's like, yeah, do what you got to do. Take whatever time you need. And
you were immediately replaced by Brad Williams.
And it was downhill from there. That's when, so Christy, you can take over here, because around 8-ish at night, I had been sleeping all day and all night. I'm on the couch, and Christy calls Dr. Rudnick, our neuro-oncologist, and he's like, what do I do? Brian is like wasting away in front of me.
Take it, Christy.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather talk about Maui, Gina.
Anytime.
No, really, like, this is the, like, genuine thing for the PSA for getting a flu shot. I'm just going to have to do that right now because, I mean, I kind of thought that it was like COVID last year. This was 1,000 times worse than COVID, by the way, because he would get better. And, like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, now we're headed into Tuesday. I was panicking because all of the tumor symptoms were back. So I was like, oh, this is like the worst double whammy of all time because his tumor symptoms are everywhere, which didn't make any sense because he hadn't had a treatment that would have, like, made those worse or really show up at all. And then he also, the scary thing for me was he literally couldn't open his eyes. Like, he was kind of fading in and out of consciousness a bit. And when I got in touch with Rudnick, he was like, I wonder if you should go to the ER. And then, it's the most surreal thing to have your 6-year-old sitting 5 feet away from you going, Mommy, are you crying? I'm like, no, just a little worried about Daddy. We're going to figure this out. And then, going into your bedroom and then calling my parents, basically sobbing, being like, I don't know what to do. And my dad was like, you need to either call an ambulance or, like, we're going to call one for you. Like, he needs to go. Because Brian was basically, like, nonsensically saying, just let me sleep. I'm so tired. Just one more day of sleep. And we got him, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. So we got him to the ER, and when they
Christy,
took
hold on
his
a second. You guys
go.
know that part of the movie, right? The cliche where it's like, dude, guy's lost blood, he's been shot, whatever. Keep your eyes open, man. Don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
All
So
I wanted
cold.
to do was close my eyes and go to sleep. Christy was like, I just talked to Dr. Rudnick. He will order you an ambulance if you don't come with me.
Yeah.
And it will show up at the house. And my thought was, Christ, all of our neighbors are going to be so annoyed.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's the big
I tried to
problem.
convince her. I was like, Christy, I'm on board with the ER. I will go tomorrow morning. I just want to sleep in my own bed. And that may have been the downward turning point had I not gone to the ER that night. Christy, you can take it from here.
It would have been 100% because when we got in there, he basically was I was vindicated. I was thrilled because he was being kind of a dick the whole time, tugging on my sleeve, going, "I could be in bed right now."
I did
As
say
he's, like,
that.
slumped over. People are staring at him. I was like, "This is not going well for anyone here." And we got in, and his blood pressure was like crazy. His heart rate was insane. His oxygen was like beyond low, and they're like, we have a sepsis nurse on rotation. We're going to get you in a room right away. And I was like, I know sepsis isn't good, but I luckily haven't had to deal with it ever in my life. So I'm Googling sepsis and going,
Don't do that.
Oh no. So the most amazing thing I said to Brian the other day was, like, when we got into the room, like, no one in the ER ever panics, but you can tell the severity of something by, like, the number of people and, like, the calm frequency with which they come into your room at a very fast pace. And there were probably like 8 people that showed up in the first 30 minutes to do a CT scan, an X-ray, a COVID test, an RSV test, flu test, 2 antibiotics, start Tamiflu, blood culture, urine culture, and, like, the list goes on.
They wheeled.
So we were just-
They
was wild.
wheeled a X-ray machine into the room, like it's the size of a bookshelf.
Wow. And was it
Yeah.
was it just the flu? Is that
Well,
what they ended up
It
with?
ended up being influenza A. It ended up being two kinds of pneumonia, bacterial and viral pneumonia,
man.
and the pre-sepsis,
Don't be
which
a one-upper.
had it not been, had they not caught it, it would have turned septic.
And those were all the things that were aggravating your tumor
Yes.
symptoms. Oy
Correct.
vey.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm texting Gina. Gina, you are my angel. Like, as
Love
I'm
you.
sitting in the ER. Ugh, I don't want to
I almost came down there, but I didn't want to annoy Brian.
Trust me, he was annoyed already. But I was texting with his neuro-oncologist, like, after all the tests were going through, and they only tell you later on kind of what they want to tell you right away. And he was like, I saw his blood levels. They were so bad that he would have died in less than a day. Like, had you not brought him in, he may have died at home.
Wow.
Which sent me down like a spiral.
So that answers my question, Christy.
That
answers my question, Christy. Have you told Brian that yet?
It's the most surreal knowledge you could have about yourself. This is by far the closest I've come to death. But beyond cancer treatments, beyond COVID, nothing compared to this. I was semi-lucid the whole time. Like I couldn't answer most of these questions if you had asked me.
Were you doing stuff when you were at home? Were you pounding Gatorade?
Yes,
were you eating?
Yes. I was craving weird things. I was craving Gatorade. I was craving Diet Coke, like the salt probably, or the whatever. I was eating, but I also was losing an appetite. So like everything was being forced. It was a very weird. And I tell you what's weird about the ER. I was in there for 22 and a half hours, Chrissy, something like that. It was almost 24 hours. We were lucky to get a room. Mm-hmm. There were people lining the halls in beds, like people who were admitted and just lining the halls.
Was that flu or just?
Like, I think the flu people, they were taking care of a little more diligently. These were other situations, I think.
Wow.
All respiratory patients were, got private rooms because of the potential for like contagion. And then when we got admitted, he was on the COVID ward. And I was like, well, this is a place I never thought I'd ever see, but never say never.
Wow. So you're an angel. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. You've saved Brian's life.
Christy.
Yes.
Yes. The last thing I will say, and I mean this with all sincerity, and I put this on Twitter and on Instagram, like the Carolla family, not just in studio, but like the listeners, the audience, like, oh, I literally will cry. The amount of messages that I got of just like, don't give up. It's going to be fine. Like, we love him. We miss him. Bring him back. Is he okay? Like, to this day, I'm still getting messages. I'm like, is he okay? I'm like, ask him yourself. He's back on Twitter. Leave me alone. But, like, it's just so incredible, the community that you guys / we have. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for everyone's, like, support and love.
Here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, listeners. Thanks, Christy.
Love you, girl.
I know you got a tight window, but we appreciate you carving out some time for the update. And thanks for the work.
You got it.
Thanks for saving me, babe.
Love you guys.
All right.
Now, keep him there for a while. I've had enough of him at home.
I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. I would have been right with Brian. Just leave. The problem with going into the ER.
At night?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The problem is when you're feeling the way you feel, all you want to do is stay where you are.
Yes.
And I'm picturing sitting in those chairs for 2 hours.
And just
people coughing around me.
The lighting alone.
Yes.
Just walking into that fluorescent bright room and having to pull it together and sit and wait and blah, blah. I would have made every argument to stay on that sofa. So glad that she won that argument.
Do you remember in San Diego when you went on a rant about how lucky women are and how grateful we should be that women live so much longer than men? And I say it's because men don't listen to us when we say go to the fucking doctor.
Yeah.
You think there might be some truth in that?
Nah, I think, well, first off, there's genetic differences. Like if somebody said female Labradors live longer than male Labradors, I'd just go, all right, well, I guess female Labradors live longer. It's not because they're being talked into going to the vet. But I don't know. I don't know that anyone's ever, I get what you're saying. I'm not sure if anyone's studied genetically why, but I think with men, I think a lot of it is stress. It's sort of like black men don't live as long as Asian men, but there's lifestyle choices in there and stress that get factored in, but there's also some genetic components as well. All right, so Brian's back.
It's the most surreal experience of my life, you guys. Like, I even when I was going through the worst of my cancer treatment, at any stage, I was never as like confronted with mortality as I was. It's crazy.
There is nothing that kicks your ass like a good flu.
Yeah.
And, when I was hearing everyone, the flu could be the most miserable
Always going to get a rainbow at 5.
We're looking at a beautiful giant rainbow
Yeah, we'll
from
put
the
all these up.
airplane.
It was just there, ready to greet us. You don't get a late greeting; that's a charge, by the way. Just keep flipping. So then
What kind of Bobo Airlines you fly?
Hawaiian. Oh, but I have this restaurant that apparently started in Portland and they're everywhere called
Dangerous trend now where it's a Korean barbecue
Yep,
place.
those are
now
Korean
it's
barbecue
Hawaiian.
griddles.
There's going to be, I'm going to open a place called Make Your Own Damn Sandwich. Where there's just loaves of bread and cold cuts laying around.
Here's some bread ink.
You pay $14 and you just wander around.
I liked it. It was really fun. So just keep rolling through. We'll see what we got. Oh, I chose chocolate chips and peanut butter instead of syrup for my pancakes, and I thought that was an excellent choice.
That's not bad.
I really wanted to get in this canoe with the balancy thing on the side.
Outrigger.
Thank you. But it was sort of unseasonably and abnormally windy while we were
Wind
there.
is not your friend when
No.
you're in a canoe.
It was actually very, very windy.
I can still do this.
Yep.
Not your friend. I got to tell you, getting in the ocean, and I would fantasize as a kid. I love the ocean. It was such a treat to go see Vince and Pat Bruno in Santa Monica.
boy.
And we'd always go into that Santa Monica. You'd get up to mid-thigh in the Santa Monica Bay, and you could not see your knees.
Right.
And I would fantasize about clear water.
Crystal
I would
clear.
just sit around, and every time I watched a game show where they sending someone to Acapulco or something, and I had a
Tahiti.
friend that would go to Puerto Vallarta or whatever,
Yeah.
and he'd go, it's like bath water, and you can see your feet. I could underwater when you're in the Santa Monica Bay. It's like trying to one of those cadaver divers that's
Yeah.
trying to pull a body out
That's right.
of a polluted river.
That's
You
right.
can't see your hand in front of your face. The notion that it was so crystal blue and warm.
Incredible. When I went to the Cook Islands several years ago, that was the only time I'd ever seen it. So this is the second. Show the video. This is where we spent Thanksgiving. I found this restaurant pre-booked. It could not get into Mama's Fish House. I tried.
Next time.
This wonderful oceanfront restaurant called Pacifico. And this was our Thanksgiving. I ate
beautiful. Look at that
crusted
sunset.
mahi-mahi.
Yeah.
There's Molokai. You're going to see my husband making a face. And this is the inside of the... I mean, it was just
Beautiful.
beautiful. It was
Great.
beautiful.
You know, everyone who lives in Maui or works in Maui should have to spend 7 weekends a year in Van Nuys, California,
Yeah.
just
To know.
just to calibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
where we're coming
because
from.
at a certain point you work at the restaurant or you live there, and it probably just fades into the background. The
100%.
amazing beauty, the scenic beauty of it all.
When it was humid and it started to rain, I was out there just like bathing in it, and people come and go, "We're so sorry, we're so sorry it's raining." I'm like, "This feels amazing." Can we do a couple body positivity appreciation posts, please? I brought like 15 swimsuits, and God damn it, I wore them all. One of them, I walked around the resort in a Barbie pink swimsuit in a see-through dress.
All right.
And I'm going to show it to you right now.
Main attraction.
It was just like everywhere you go, first of all, heftier carriage of people coming from the mainland.
Yes.
So I felt live. I felt very, very
Wasn't a bunch of spokesmodels coming from Idaho.
Wore that all over. And then for the luau, I have to show you this dress because I thought it looked fucking hot.
Oh, you do look hot.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Nice.
you very much. So wore that to the luau. We got our leis. We went to the feast at Lele. It was beautiful. Did you do that?
I can't do these things anymore because last time I was there with Danny Two Sheets and Cousin Sal and all the kids and everything, it was $118 a head for the luau.
you got lucky.
Or I don't know,
Very expensive.
46
Yeah.
bucks. The kids last about 25 minutes,
Oh.
and then we're like, we want to go to the room and watch TV. And I was like, you fucking sit here and enjoy this goddamn pig. It gave its life up for you.
Thank
and
you.
they're like, we want to go. We're bored. Like, we want to go back into the room and we'll watch TV and we'll rent some movies. And I was like, I
These
saw
people
the
are dancing for you.
I saw the goddamn Brady Bunch episode
Yeah.
where they came here in 1974, and you're going to fucking sit here and enjoy this goddamn
Yeah.
pig that just came out of the goddamn ground.
Yeah.
And like, we're moving. They went to the room.
I can't.
Order burgers.
pizza.
I know.
They went
so
to the
much
room
more
and then ordered
offensive.
pizza, and I was like, "You better fucking eat every piece of crust on this goddamn pizza."
This was
so I can no
literally-
longer enjoy things.
I get it. This was basically $200 a head, almost.
Now,
Yes.
well, the question I have for you, Gina, when you were planning the trip a month or so ago, we talked off the air. Just like, what do you think about going to a luau? I'm like, I think you have to go once.
I agree.
And then now, what's the verdict?
It's a one and done for me.
Was this one of the nicer ones?
Very, very nice.
Okay.
It's fine. It was lovely. It was lovely. But it was lovely. It was great. But I think we're done with the luau's now. But the luau, the dancing is spectacular, and the food was fun. These poor guys, it was a very chilly night, and all the waiters are shirtless in little like sarongs. Nipples could cut glass on these boys. It was freezing. But look at you see the Howley, the white dude for the second from the end?
Yeah.
He was distracting. He pulled a lot of focus because just
Oh,
being
there's
white.
a guy looks like Conan O'Brien
Yeah.
up there with the pom poms and the sash and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the
Serviceable-
Howley doing up there?
Serviceable job really pulled focus, really bumped me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is a girl I've known my whole life named Shira. When we were in second grade, Shira got to go to Hawaii, and that was the first time I heard the word catamaran. And she
Mm.
said she got to sit on the net of a catamaran, and I have been thinking about that since second grade.
It's a romantic notion.
Never
It's
ever.
like a Duran Duran Rio
Yes.
video. Just on the net of that
Her
catamaran.
name is Gina.
she lays
She's
on
flopping
the net.
on the net.
So we went to this really nice sunset dinner cruise. It was beautiful. And I said, I'm getting on that net. I just lay after dinner. No one else would get on it. Everyone was scared. I just laid on the net the whole way back. It was fulfilling a
Good for you.
second grade
Good for
Gina's
you.
dream. It was beautiful. And finally,
How was the
yes,
food on the dinner cruise?
Fine. Not wonderful, but
What do you
good.
expect?
Yeah.
Okay.
I stopped wearing makeup.
They sound like me.
It was crazy. It doesn't even occur to you to put on makeup. Check out this hot picture of me with no makeup.
Yeah, you look beautiful.
Thank you. Don't worry. I'm not bringing that home. It was just nice for a couple of days. And finally, yesterday morning.
I put my own makeup on yesterday.
How'd you go?
Honestly, I was doing Jesse Waters' show, and they sent the truck over.
Yeah.
And the reason I've said it all the time, everyone in Hollywood has to get their teeth whitened.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you have to get your teeth whitened in Hollywood is not because of your teeth, but
Arms
because you're sitting in between two people whose mouths are glowing
It's
like
blue,
a
it's
shaft
so
of
white.
light. They're so white. You can't go on Fox and sit in between those two
Right.
chicks with the glowing white teeth.
Right.
In contrast,
Right.
your teeth look like shit. And when you do a show and the host is in full makeup
Oh.
and you're in no makeup, even if you're fine, you'll look weird.
Yeah.
So I got the powder puff out.
You mean British, right? With the teeth? The teeth, you mean British?
British?
A
Yeah,
little
sorry.
British. Okay, just checking.
Yes.
24 hours ago, I said, I'm getting in the ocean one more time every morning.
Good for you.
Every morning out there, just letting it take you where it takes you. So did that a few times. And finally, there's me. We're just leaving, and this older couple comes up to me, and she goes, would you like me to do some photography, like some portrait shots of you and your husband? I was like, sure. So she took a bunch. This is just one of us walking, whatever.
That's nice
It's
of them.
very nice. And I
Her.
said, thank you. And she said, no problem. God called me to do it. And I said, well,
wow.
thank him for me.
Yeah.
She said she and her husband who was with her were pastors for 50 years, and God called them to move to Hawaii. And then God called them to take my picture. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start incorporating that more. It's very hard to argue with
It's
God.
hard to
called you.
argue with. It's like
God also called me to move to Hawaii, I think.
Reggie White would come out of retirement, and they'd go like, "Why are you coming out of retirement?" Like, God told me to.
Yeah.
And like all the reporters go, "All right."
Yeah.
I mean, you could talk about a messy divorce and needing more money or something like that.
No,
but
you don't argue
God,
with this.
but God never tells you to move to Pahrump.
Right.
God tells you to move to Hawaii.
War torn Syria, where they actually need you.
And it's amazing.
Convenient God.
Because nobody ever listens to me. And if I say, this is what I need to do for myself, people will fucking laugh me out of the room. If I say, I'm sorry, it's my calling, God told me to, I would like to think it would command a little more respect.
I was thinking along those lines, not in the God told me to argument, but I was now thinking about athletes, and I used to joke all the time, and I'll I'll bring it to a present day thing, which is I'm obsessed with the guy who shoots up the nightclub and then he tells me that his pronouns are thee and them, and she and her and it and us and we. And there was even a story, I think, Chris, you had it from yesterday. It was one of a Biden cabinet member who was in charge of spent nuclear waste or something ended up getting busted for stealing someone's luggage at an airport. Oh. But that person was a trans person who was into like pup play or something.
I can't believe I'm asking this. What is that?
You get your partner to dress up like a dog and
pup play. Okay.
Weird.
The name,
it seems, I don't know. Look, I don't want to go old school, but the dude I went looking after the spent uranium is the Mike Pence type guy, not
he calls his wife mother.
Not the pup play guy with the pink mohawk who's into a bunch of gender stuff, but this guy gets busted, right?
Yeah.
But then when they tell the story, because he goes by them and we, then it's like, they stole was accused of stealing the Samsonite, and then we brought it back to the apartment, and then they opened up the luggage, and it's like,
you had an accomplice?
It just confuses everything. It's, then she went into the bathroom, and then she raped the 9-year-old, and then she pulled out her phallus, and then they are being brought on rape charges. It's like, I'm totally confused. It fucking is. It's good stuff. Oh, you can find some great pictures of this fella. But either way, I've been saying, I said it for years. I've said it. Brian probably remembers this, Jag, from the Loveline days. 25 years ago, I would say, people always make fun of athletes, because they do the third person thing. And they go, Charles Barkley needs the ball. Charles Barkley is going to get a triple double, and Charles Barkley needs a pay. And everyone goes, it's so obnoxious why they do it. And I said, they do it because inevitably, when they get caught,
boy,
you can save the pictures, by the way. But there's
what's down below?
He's got a dude in bondage pup.
Where's that coming from?
This portrait available for us?
This is what the dude is into.
Look at his butt.
What's his? Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Read us his title, Dawson. So, all right. So let me finish my. In the title, I don't know what his job title is. Dawson can find it, but at some point you're reading the article and it's they and them and we, and it's the dude,
the one person.
But we're all confused,
right?
And then you game the system by shooting up the gay bar, and then as soon as you go in, you swap genders, and you need to be, and maybe you get into a women's prison, or maybe you get they're lenient because now it's not a hate crime because you're. You go by they and them, and everyone's just going to game the system. But 25 years ago, I used to say, so why the athletes in the third person, which you don't hear about as much anymore, but it was a big deal. And I said, it's because inevitably these guys cheat. They go fuck groupies on the road. And then at some point, they come back, and the wife with the 3 kids who they met in high school confronts them, and they go, why were you fucking strange punani on the road? And then they go, that's something Reggie White wouldn't do.
Magic Johnson would never do that.
Right. And then you go, yeah, why were you fucking? It doesn't sound like something Magic Johnson would do, but I can talk to him. It just gets you a little separation.
Yes. Yeah, disconnection.
Distance. And then at some point, like I said, with all she went into the Denny's bathroom and then she raped the 9. I get confused and I get confounded and I go, it's just fuck it. I don't know. You got the story, Dawson?
Yeah, in the Department of Energy, he is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition. The headline is non-binary nuclear official charged with stealing woman's luggage at airport. Britain faces up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine for allegedly taking another person's luggage. Sam Brinton, a senior Energy Department official, was charged with stealing a traveler's luggage in Minneapolis airport in September, shortly before quietly taking a leave of absence. allegedly took a Vera Bradley suitcase worth $2,325 from the luggage carousel at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport on September 16th, according to a criminal complaint filed on October 26th in Minnesota State Court. After the suitcase's owner alerted police, officers reviewed some video surveillance of the carousel and identified Britton taking the luggage before removing its tag, identifying the owner, the court filing stated. Law enforcement observed Britton using the luggage during at least 2 other trips to Washington, D.C. on September 18th and October 9th. Then on October 9th, Britton denied stealing anything when a police officer called to discuss the incident. Britton was confirmed still possessing the suitcase. If I had taken the wrong bag, I am happy to return it, but I don't have any clothes for other individuals.
Don't you know if you stole the wrong bag or not?
Oh, very much so.
There's somewhere in the article where they say they and he or them or something, something like that.
I don't think it's this article.
Oh, maybe it's a different article.
In a different article as well, I read that this person was not traveling with any luggage and just landed and took some luggage.
Hoping they had a
I like that.
34 Levi's in there.
I still want to know where the picture with the tail in the ass comes from.
The dude's into trans stuff and pup play and other forms of sexuality, and he's in charge of the spent uranium.
I read they weren't going to take the picture, but someone came up to them and said, God told me to.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's right.
All right.
Where's the tail coming from?
I think you know.
Yeah, the angle we're looking at looks like the tail is stuck in the guy's ass, like one of those wine saver corks you
Yes.
put in the top of your wine bottle when you can't finish it.
Now, here's a question. If this picture was out and you are one of those people, which one would you rather be in the picture? I would rather be the dog because it's hard to identify.
Yeah, plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's in charge of the spent fuel is the guy with the pink mohawk,
Right.
Who's hugging the
Holding the leash.
The Doberman, whatever's happening.
This feels like a diversity hire for me to me, but I could be wrong. Listen, everybody, when you're running a Color Me Mine, go for all the diversity hires you possibly can. No one gives a fuck. But when you're talking about like running a country, go for the best. That's what I'm.
How dare you
that's
assume
what
that
I'm
didn't
saying.
happen?
Yeah, Kamala Harris. All right, we'll take a break, and I got some Casey Anthony news coming right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Miho, hey, if I had a time machine, would I go back and kill baby Hitler? Would I go back in time and do some sports wagering or perhaps invest in Amazon stock for $2 a share? No. I'd go back to 1983 and find a young Adam Carolla and trying to convince him that there's a 75-inch flat screen on sale for $597 and men can have babies. Good luck and get it done.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yeah. I mean, we should book this guy, Chris, made me think about it. I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but
I'm going to need that.
yeah. He wrote a book, and basically the book was, you can talk about how much shit cost, and, back then, we do that thing. Sometimes
Lunch
you
was
go
a
to
nickel.
those steakhouses and you see the old-timey menu with the T-bone for $1.79 from 1939 or whatever, and you go, wow. This guy just measured everything in hours spent in labor to get stuff. And as we've chronicled on this show, if you go back and look at LA Times, they have the advertisements for the electronics section, at some point in the thing. 1974, Sony, 19-inch Sony Trinitron color TV, $341, right? But but the minimum wage was $1.65.
So how long would you have to
You
work?
have to work X amount of whatever. And now, people are making, even on the low end, they're making $16 an hour.
Right.
And a flat panel 55-inch TV is $278.
Yep.
And thus you have to work this many hours to get
Interesting.
that. In that department, we are crushing it.
Yeah.
Like everyone talks about, the haves and the have-nots and the lower end people, whatever. We are completely crushing the amount of hours you'd have to work to buy a banana.
Yeah.
Or a flat panel or just a television or an appliance.
Everything is attainable.
Right.
Everything is attainable these days.
Yes.
Oh, Gino, when you were in Hawaii, we like to travel like adults, right? Do certain things, stay in certain places.
Sure.
But you could pretty quickly identify, this can be done on the cheap.
Yes.
Like this could be a very affordable vacation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And when it comes to the time to get something, think about the actual delivery time. It's not the Wells Fargo wagon coming next month. It's Amazon later that day, same day.
Yes, I know. People complain a lot, but it's a pretty good time to be alive. And never been a better time to be poor, as I've always said. All right. So I'm watching Extra last night with Billy Bush. And he's this whole Casey Anthony special's coming out.
Right.
10 years on, 11
Oh,
years
boy.
on. She's sitting down and doing her interview. I don't even know what it's called, but it's coming soon. And so I'll put it. I'll set it up with a couple of Billy Bush clips. By the way, is this where she's accusing her father? I mean,
Yeah, this clip will kind of set up, and then he'll be interviewing someone special.
You didn't think being Casey Anthony accused of murdering her 2-year-old daughter, and then she didn't report it for 31 days, and she was the most hated woman in America, and then she was found innocent. You don't think being her dad could get any worse? Oh, it got worse.
How is that possible?
Oh, I'll show you. The grandparents were looking after the kid.
He looks like Jay Peterman, by the way, from Seinfeld.
Oh, right. Oh, yes, the boss.
Yeah.
Yes, that actor does a lot of VO work. It seems.
He's
The dad.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're saying the dad sexually abused the child.
Casey, then Kaylee. First Casey when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Then Kaylee when she was born.
Correct.
By the way, the traumatized thing, because later on they got into Will Smith and his deal, and he just goes, well, I watched my dad beat up on my mom, so that's why I had to get up there and punch Chris Rock. And it's like, oh, there's a new thing now where everyone just gets to go, I got abused,
right,
or I witnessed abuse, and now that's why I set the nunnery on fire. It's like, oh, okay, well, you got abused. So be careful. I don't think there's such a thing. I mean, if my daughter gets brought up on murder charges,
go on.
I'm definitely going to take the fall because the only angle is what a horrible abusive dad I had.
Yeah.
We were in Maui, and he forced me to eat every bite of my pizza.
That's right.
He tried to make me stay at the luau.
So yeah, Nancy Grace is on the case. Now, I think we'll play a few more clips and then we'll get into Nancy because I'll set you up for that. There's by the way, there's a couple things. I forgot she wore a pink ruffled tuxedo shirt the day the jury was coming down with the verdict. Which
it's a bit celebratory.
Seems like you just wear a black sweater, maybe V-neck, but it was weird. She wore this pink festive ruffled tuxedo shirt.
Yeah.
All right. I know what I love about Nancy Grace is she does that thing all the time where she'll go, these people are getting rich
you see
off
Casey in tears.
It's like, people do that to me all the time. Oh, you go on Fox and hammer checks, and it's like you don't get paid. I don't know. People have a weird relationship with who's making money and how they make their money.
Yeah, there's no Kaylee Anthony merch, thank God. How are you
I got
paid?
a travel mug.
Oh.
That's my
right.
Christmas present this year.
That's right.
We will. We'll play a couple more clips here for you.
She's mad at Billy Bush now.
That's right. He needs a second pair of glasses, or even maybe bifocals. She could have said, but. Yeah.
Like that preacher on late night TV, you know, with the two glasses.
He don't know bass drum from a pipe organ. He's a no good, low down thimble rigger.
Excuse me?
Thimble rigger.
You heard him.
What exactly does that mean?
I don't know. I used to watch that guy. His name was Gene something.
Gene
Had a big beard.
Smart. Gene.
No, that's an actress.
He'd sit there with a hat on and a big gray beard. He'd wear 2 pair of glasses, and he would yell that this guy doesn't know a bass drum from a pipe organ.
Wow.
And he would also accuse people of being low down thimble riggers.
Oh, you know what a thimble rigger is?
I have no idea.
One who rigs thimbles?
Yes, it's like the shell game, the moving the cups around. A swindling trick in which a small ball or pea is quickly shifted from one cup to another.
Find the Red Queen.
See,
That's right.
pre the internet,
Oh.
because I used to watch this guy in the 80s, no internet. No. So you had to just live with thimble rigger.
Well, it sounds like Yosemite Sam when he would get upset.
Yeah.
Right.
We're friggin' thimble rigger.
Yeah, he would call people a thimble rigger,
Wow.
and I had to carry that burden of not knowing what a thimble rigger
So sorry.
was. Now, he doesn't know the difference between a bass drum and a pipe organ. That much I got.
Right.
But the thimble rigging, I had to live with that secret shame of not knowing what it was. No one else knew, and there's no way to find out. One could go to the library, I guess, and try to find a book on thimble rigging. So it's like a 3-card Monte
Yes,
kind of.
that's thimble
a
rigging.
shyster.
That's right.
God, you got to find a clip of that guy. He was
2 glasses.
awesome.
Dr. Gene Scott.
No,
Gene Scott.
God's angry man.
I don't know
That's
if I'm
right.
familiar.
He would wear the 1 pair of glasses and then wear one like the bridge of his
I
nose.
feel like I'd remember that.
Oh man, he was.
Was this like middle of
calling
the
out.
night?
Did he wear like a pith helmet or some sort of
No,
jungle attire?
No, he did wear a sort of floppy camel-colored hat.
Oh, well, there you go.
And he would sit there with the Bible, and he would call out all the people that were rigging thymballs and all the bass drum and pipe organ. Oh, he is
looks
wearing
like-
a pithy helmet there.
Oh, thank you.
You're
He
right.
looks like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but we haven't. Well, you got to find the 2 glasses
That's
shot
his
of the
later
guy.
years, the 2 glasses.
Wow.
All right, let's find out if Nancy Grace would interview Casey Anthony. Nancy, you buying it?
Okay, I am so glad you played this clip because she did something that every liar does. Hey, Adam, let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten so emotional in your life that you actually cried? Have you cried before? Have you seen
Yeah.
anyone cry before?
I saw Brian's song when I was 9, and
Did you well up a bit? Did you
A little
have to
bit.
grab your hanky and blow your nose?
Yeah.
Or, Adam, did you delicately pat with your pinky finger the little outside and inner corners of your eyes to show everyone you're crying as opposed to actually crying? Which one did you do, Adam?
I think my hands were down. I think I just wept.
Oh, you wept openly.
I like Brian Piccolo.
Oh, well, who doesn't? Here's the thing that I don't like. I don't like this little Piccolo pretending she's crying by just dabbing the inner corner of her eye and saying, "Excuse me, I need a break."
She probably doesn't know Piccolo from a pipe organ.
She don't know her ass from her elbow, and nothing could be clearer than that fake crying crocodile.
You think she's trying to thimble rig us?
I think she thimble rigged us 6 ways to Sunday, and I swear to God, if I could get her to sit down, I could prove it.
All right. Well, we'll play another clip, and we'll see. See if she's gotten her act together, Nancy.
Okay. Adam, I have a question for you. When you were just a little young fella, little knee-high to a grasshopper, little young buck greenhorn, question for you. Did you play a game known as Hot Potato?
Yeah, we used to play hot potatoes. As a matter of fact, there was a game called Hot Potato where there was a plastic potato, and you wind a little winder clock in it and throw it around until the alarm went off, and whoever got caught with it was the possessor of the hot potato.
It's such fun. Now, tell me just real quick in your own words, what is, and I'm sorry to cross-examine you, but I feel as though you might have something to say about this. What is the point of Hot Potato?
Well, the point is not to get caught holding the potato.
So you're saying that the whole point of Hot Potato is to not get caught with the potato, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm under oath, but even if I was, I would probably say correct.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it because guess what? Our own sweet little Casey Anthony was playing her own little game of hot potato just there, passing the blame. Do you ever play a game called Kick the Can? Kicking the can down the road, passing the potato. She'll never take responsibility for what she did. So guess what? She passes that little hot potato right over to Daddy.
Jeez, you're right. I'm getting hungry. Do you think her dad actually molested her or molested her child?
Babies don't sweat. There has been no person in the history of humanity who said, "Oh, I love when my baby sweats."
That's a good point. Babies really don't sweat. You can get them warm, but they don't.
Thank you, Brian. They don't have the glandular issue to sweat when they're
now
infants.
You sound like Prince Charles's lawyer, whoever was on.
Where's Andrew?
Prince
Andrew's lawyer. He doesn't sweat.
Don't you give me 5 minutes in the room with Prince Andrew. I'll get him singing.
All right, I don't want to get you going off.
He'll warble all night when I'm done with him.
Goddamn rainbird.
Yeah, so the body, I don't get why she didn't call anyone for 31 days.
Well, she says it's because Daddy wouldn't let her. Adam, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a little game called Mother May I?
Yes, you may. I mean, yes, I have.
Okay, and will you just quickly tell the people, the good people, what the object of the game is?
You would say, "Mother, may I?" And then they'd say, "Yes, you may." And then you could come over. I don't know. Was it Red Rover?
That's a different game. I'll go ahead and strike that from the record. Wow. Mother, may I? You're about correct. You ask the leader, "Mother, may I take 2 hopscotches forward?" And she says, "Yes, you may," or "No, you may not." Now,
do you have a Stratego metaphor so I could kind of follow along? I know that game better.
Cool your heels. Let me get to where I'm getting.
Yeah.
So Casey here, after playing a little game of hot potato, little game of kick the can down the road, little game of,
Mother
cry, baby, patty cake, baker's man. Now she's playing a little game of Mother May I. Adam, let me ask you a question. If God forbid, there was a baby in your house that was no longer with us, would you wait to call your daddy to see if you were allowed to call the coroner?
No. And also, she doesn't sound like someone who has a lot of reverence for her dad. She's calling him a pedophile on TV and trying to get him thrown in jail and pin the murder on him. That's not someone that seems fearful.
I don't know. I think you are knee-high to a grasshopper on that. I think you are just plum sugar picking right.
Again, I'm getting hungry. I'm getting horny. I long for my childhood. And also, in terms of the 2-year-old sweat sniffer, it sounds weird.
It ain't a thing, and she knows it.
But, Joe Biden's a hair sniffer, and we elected him. I mean, maybe we'll have some room for guys who like sniffing.
Hey, Adam. You remember a product called Gee, Your Hair Smells Terrific?
Oh, do I?
Could you please tell the good people what that is?
That was shampoo that was infused with a bunch of scent that smelled amazing. And then the commercial, the woman would go on the subway and then everyone would be sniffing her head.
I see. Thank you very much. And can you recall in the commercial, the many, many times I'm sure you saw it, did it ever say to be used on babies?
No, I don't recall
I rest my case.
Yeah, very sad.
That's all case.
So when does this air on Peacock? And
it might be up now.
Gina, you're going to have some homework because you're going to have to watch this shit.
I will.
It was pretty damn... also, Billy Bush, who's very good at his job and who I like, had a unbelievably bizarre hot take at the end on the whole Will Smith situation with Chris Rock, which I think it's strange because Will Smith keeps going. He does this thing that everyone does now where they go, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have slapped Chris Rock, but I'm human.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you. You've now included us into assaulting
Unlike
people
the rest of you idiots.
on stage. First off, the I'm human excuse, done with it. I'm done with I'm human because everyone who's watching is human and no one has laid a hand on Chris Rock.
Correct.
So that's not really... I don't
Neither
like
here
it,
nor there.
and I saw abuse. I was abused. I get it. That does not give you a license to put your hands on somebody. But here's Billy Bush's sort of hot take on obviously he's in the Will Smith camp, but here's his final thought. All right, a couple things.
So weird.
That's a fucked up, retarded take,
Yeah,
right?
Jerry Springer's like, dial it back.
Right. His final thought.
What is
Yeah,
that?
totally.
We're all wired for wrong.
I don't know about that. I feel like
We're
I
not
do. I feel like I do
demons.
more right than wrong.
Yeah.
I got it.
51-49.
Give me the him and Chris Rock part again. So ill-timed, ill whatever.
Tasteless.
Like, it's not ill-timed. You're
joke in a
hosting the
comedy show.
Oscars. You have to roast people in the first 3 rows.
Right.
Totally within context.
Context,
And it's
yeah.
like, he's heralding the other guy.
And was he heralded? I mean, people, stood up for him like he has a right to make a joke, but I don't know if he was celebrated.
No, he wasn't hoisted upon people's shoulders.
What's Billy's take on this thing?
It's very hard to figure out. And also, just going back to the whole Jada thing, Jada's gorgeous. She knows she's gorgeous. She has a nice shaped head. She pulled off the look. Like, so
Yes.
what did we get all, what happened? What was that?
I don't know, but him explaining that basically Will Smith was not man enough to do anything when he was 7 because his
Right.
dad was 6'3" and 240 pounds. So yes, none of us would be. Now it's time to step up and be a man on the Oscar stage with this guy smaller than you who's telling jokes.
Unoffensive jokes.
This is why I could never be in the band Duran Duran
Oh, the list is getting longer.
or be a boom mic operator for Extra because he'd get halfway into that jacket and I'd
fuck
go,
are you talking
what are
about?"
you talking about?
Bonk him on the head.
You sound like an idiot. This is not, I know you're thinking this is a final thought or a hot take. It's retarded. No one's going to agree with you. And I'm standing 4 feet from you and I'm fucking confused. I don't know what you're saying here.
It sounds like there's only one person he cares about agreeing with him, and that's not to lose his connection to Will Smith.
Is it more about Billy Bush than about Will Smith? You know what I mean? Like we all make mistakes.
Right.
We all, do these things.
We all get in buses with the president,
Yeah,
say
that's
some
a
things we
little more
shouldn't
about-
have.
Well, let's hear it one more time and
Oh, God.
let's see. All right.
Well,
It's
two
just a
things.
bizarre, it's a fucked up, semi-retarded, bizarre take.
It's flimsy at best.
I don't think he wants his access to Will Smith taken away.
Yeah, he probably felt some pressure to say something.
That's my guess.
I can
All
see
right.
that. I
He
can see
doesn't
that.
want to talk to Chris Rock.
Or whoever else is on, whoever's repping Will Smith is repping some A-listers.
Right. Oh, interesting. There we go.
So
what I
there's
mean?
some motivation there.
That's probably Tom Cruise.
So he said, fine, I'll say something, but I'll make it so convoluted we won't really know what I'm saying anyway.
Is Billy Bush also very, very grateful to the powers that be that he's finally back on the air and he's going to do everything they say because he doesn't want anything like that to happen again?
Yeah, he's not playing with house money.
I have no idea. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just think that's his take. It's just a
Hot.
weird and
Piping
confusing
hot.
take. All right. But that's why you got to watch to the end, people. That's all I do is I sit around with a notepad going, what the fuck? All right. Let's see. The Casey Anthony thing's on Peacock,
Oh, God.
3-parter. So enjoy your stateside homework. Now, Gina Grad.
Thank you.
First, let me tell you about Geico. Do you own? Do you rent your home? Well, sure you do. And it can be hard work. Well, Geico makes it easy to get your bundle going. And you can take your renters or homeowners insurance along with your automotive policy and get your bundle working. That's a good thing, too, because you got so much to do around the house. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see just how much you could save. It's easy. It's Geico easy when you get your bundle going on Geico. All right, Diana Maria Riva. I think I'm saying all
Nailed
that
it.
right. Now, you know me. I don't watch episodic TV.
Right.
I watch car shows. I watch MMA shows. And then I watch
Extra.
and TMZ.
TMZ.
Those.
New episodic. You're saying new episodic.
Oh,
TV.
on the
Because
Love Boat.
you
I
got
watch-
us in the
I love
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 Boat
Not
Boat.
for
since
about 8 months.
1982.
But I watched Dead to Me.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a very good show. and it's Christina Applegate's
Right.
going through some health issues and stuff like that. And Deanna is a big part of that show, so I'm a big fan.
Nice.
And we'll talk to her right after this.
And now, a totally innocuous word that sounds dirty when Mike Dawson says it.
Caucus.
Ew. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Deanna Maria Riva, which I said Riva, but it's Riva, has joined us in studio. Dead to Me. She plays, I guess, FBI
Detective.
or detective,
Yes.
and in a very riveting series, which I really enjoy. Is it Will Ferrell? Is he part of that?
He
a
is.
producer, whatever
Yes.
on that. You're very good in it. The whole cast is very good.
Thank
I
you.
I don't really know how to describe it other than you just sort of get into it and you invest in the two women who'd be Linda Cardellini and Christina Applegate, and then you just kind of get into their life, and then you go along for the journey.
And then the wheels come off the cart, and somehow I got sucked into their storm, and I'm paying the piper by the end of season 3.
Yeah, how's her health? How's Christina Applegate's health doing right now?
You know, Christina this is what I keep telling everyone that's very true. I think what I experienced with Christina, everyone has experienced who have worked with her. Whatever she starts, she finishes. She works beginning, middle to end. She's a trooper. And we, over three seasons took over, I don't know, I think 2019 we started. And 2018 we started. And we had a pandemic. We've had deaths in our families. We've had illnesses. We've had all sorts of things. And we just crossed the line together. Like, we just came together and got the work done. I don't think it was, it wasn't easy. But in the end, she's tough, she's strong, and she's doing it.
Yeah, I saw her get her star on the Walk of Fame the other week, I believe it was. And, she looked to be in good spirits, but she looked physically like she was having a little bit of difficulty. And God, she's been through so much.
She has been through a lot. And that's what I say. I feel like that's what, if you haven't met her or worked with her, you can see even when she might be going through something, she's there to support you. She's there to uplift you. That means once we launched, we dropped on Netflix about a week and a half ago. The first thing she was doing was she reached out to me before I even got to say anything. She goes, "I watched the series. You're wonderful." She's there to uplift you. She's there to support you and champion you. I mean, she has a wonderful crass sense of humor, which makes everything better and funnier and easier to be with at work. So she's just good people inside and out.
She's a really funny actress, too.
Yeah.
It doesn't maybe get her due.
Well, especially Married with Children, she plays, the pretty teenage bimbo and didn't get the credit for being as smart in that role as she was to even pull that off.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great show.
There's a movie I did a film with her years and years ago called Employee of the Month, which is a very dark, I would say dramedy, very dark, and you should see her in that. That is just a departure from a lot of the roles that she plays. It's with Vince Vaughn and Matt Dillon. Was it Vince Vaughn? Steve Zane, Vince Vaughn, Matt Dillon. It's been so long. I think it was before I had kids. And she's just beautifully dark in that one. And you should see that one. That's a departure.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think because I mistake it for that Dane Cook movie.
Yeah, there is a Dane Cook movie called Employee of the Month.
Oh, there's two.
Yeah. Dax Shepard and Dane Cook. And he plays Vince. So it's like, wait,
So
did she
now
mean
we're
Vince
super
Vaughn?
fucking confused. So I'm reading down your credits here. So, like I said, Dead to Me, I don't know, start watching it. It's very easy to kind of binge watch. I guess the episodes are half hour. I don't even know what the time is anymore for anything.
You
But it
can't
just-
know when they autoplay and you're just sucked in.
They just kind of
Binge.
roll into the next one, but very, very watchable and very well executed and very well written. Too.
Yes,
It's,
that team is phenomenal. Liz Feldman and company have really written something that, I think they had to make a couple of turns here along the way. But they, one of the greatest things as an actor is you go into something, you think it's going to be something special, and then it ends up being something monumental. And that's what happened with my character. I didn't. As Liz said to me in the middle of season 2. The creator of the show, Liz Feldman, she said to me, "I thought you were just going to be a detective until I met you." And then, to hear that it prompted or inspired a story arc, a character arc that went to where it goes, that's an actor's dream. You want to you want to surprise yourself, you want to surprise the audience, and you hopefully inspire people to write something for you that's that juicy, that's that big of a deal. So
what a testament to you.
I think it was number one on Netflix last time.
It was.
checked.
Yes, it was. It was. Happy to say that it was. Yes.
I'm looking down your credits here, and you did a series regular on Common Law opposite Greg Giraldo.
Yes.
Who I miss.
Yes.
He was a really interesting.
That was my first series ever, and that was his first series ever. I was out here for 20 minutes in Los Angeles. I had been doing. I was brought out here to do a play. I just graduated from the University of Cincinnati in the theater, and I was brought out here to do a play. I did it. ABC picked me up to put me on the series that they were developing for him called Common Law. So it was his first half hour. And I didn't know anything about filming and television.
Did he play a lawyer?
He did.
Because he was a lawyer.
Yes.
In real life.
Yes, he did play a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Opposite Megan Price, with Carlos Jacot and Dave Pasquesi.
So did it run a season?
No, barely. We got, I think, 8 episodes out of it, and we were shelved. This was back in the day with when Ray Romano was like in his season 2, maybe of a show, and it didn't make it. He went on obviously to do a few more series after that, but he was great. The two of us were kind of cutting our teeth at the same time on the whole multicam film world. Like we had no experience. He had experience with stand up, obviously, but that wasn't the same. So Robbie Benson directed, and it was glorious.
Robbie Benson was quite the teen idol.
Oh yeah.
He was a big deal in the kind of Sean Cassidy, David Cassidy era, Tiger Beat.
Yes.
Made a basketball movie called...
Oh, yeah. Remember The Boy in the Plastic Bubble?
What?
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was Travolta, though, right?
Oh, wait. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Ice Castles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm confusing my teen throbs.
That's all right.
One-on-one, Ice Castles.
One-on-one was he made a basketball movie, and he was a big teen idol back in the 70s.
He is the voice of one of the most iconic animated characters ever, the Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Yes. And another fun trivia.
He's a diminutive guy. He's a little cute guy.
Well, they animated the character.
Are you sure he wasn't the boy in the plastic bubble?
Beast outfit?
The actual boy? I think that was Travolta.
I think it was Robbie Benson.
No, that was
the first
Travolta.
time hearing that.
Really?
Yeah, because Travolta met his longtime companion woman on that show who played his mom.
Oh. Diana Hyland?
Yeah, and they were together for a number of years, and then she tragically died of like ovarian cancer or something like that. That's I just remember the negative part of all movies and sitcoms.
Of all stories.
That's right. So Greg Giraldo's dead. And
but other fun trivia.
Please.
Robbie Benson's wife, please forgive me, I'm blanking on her name.
Hold on.
Singer, sang opposite Meatloaf in
Paradise by the Dashboard?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Carla DeVito?
Yes. Yes?
I got to tell you, the internet. I took a deep dive on the internet last night, and I get it. You can just keep.
I went nuts the first time I met Sean Cassidy in real life. Well, when I was in 3rd grade, he came to Cincinnati for a concert, and everybody in my school was going but me because it was right after the Who concert, the tragic Who concert in Cincinnati, Ohio, back in like 1979,
where the crush, where people were crushed.
So my father was like, "We are not going to Riverfront Stadium for this concert." So I sat down in my basement with my little record player and played Sean Cassidy and wore his T-shirt all by myself, and it was pitiful. Cut to 2015, And I'm on set, and they're calling me, and they're saying, "You're supposed to be on set. You're supposed to be on set." I'm like, "What?" I just got broken for lunch. I go running, and they're screaming for me, and I get on there, and he's there waiting for me. They hooked me. I became 12. I was like screaming, like just a fangirling out, and lots. You know what made it even better was that he said he liked my work. He had seen a film I had done called McFarland USA, and I was just like, Sean Cassidy likes my work.
Oh my God.
So that was full circle. Then I got
Did
a
you
great
have
picture with
the posters and watch the Hardy Boys? I'm trying
all
to
of
think
it. Read the books.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
a book series that came out on the Hardy Boys, and well, I guess that's what the series was based on. And with Parker Stevenson.
Oh, yeah. He was easy
He was
on the
dreamy.
eyes, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Used to be dreamy guys. They didn't have a bunch of piercings and tattoos and stuff. They were just dreamy.
Did it end with John Stamos? The dreamy
Yeah,
guy. I
it
feel like
may
that was
have.
the last of like the truly dreamy guys on TV.
Yeah, or I don't know if it just sort of went into Pete Davidson or something now,
Yeah,
but
it's a
I don't
different
know.
vibe.
Like, he's got tattoos and he's unfunny. What the fuck is that good? What's dreamy about that?
John Stamos doesn't need to tell people he has big dick energy.
That's
We
right.
can assume.
Do you know, by the way, that Mama Cass, as long as I was taking the Mama Cass dive, is her real name is Ellen Cohen. She's in the tribe.
Of course she is.
Of course she
That's
is,
amazing.
right?
Who
But
gave her Cass?
I don't know, but it struck me as I was drinking in the middle of the night and
the middle of
taking
the
my
day.
deep dive
Deep
on
dive
a
in.
Mama Cass. I was like, Gina, as if it's not bad enough with all this Kanye bullshit,
Yeah.
but you guys aren't getting a lot of credit.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you're this national, if you're black or you're Hispanic
We
or
hear about
something,
it.
you go, that guy's the first black whatever mayor, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't know Mama Cass.
No, you're right.
You could be getting credit, but you don't
Yeah.
get credit.
Ellen Naomi Cohen. It's pretty Jewish.
Pretty
The
Jewy.
one area, songwriting, should
That's
be
right.
dominating.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take Mama Cass.
Yeah. So who else were you hot for coming up?
Oh, in the Sean Cassidy era?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a good one. I don't know. I did love John Stamos when he was Blackie on General Hospital.
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah, I'm aging myself with that one.
Well, it's not a far jump from John Stamos to Rob Lowe, so you can always throw him in the pile.
Oh
too.
yeah, no, he was
So
a
you're-
lot of the Brat Pack. I thought were,
You were in Cincy when the whole Who, Stampede, Crush, Riverfront
I was a
Stadium
kid, but
thing,
yes. Mhm.
yeah, happened. Multiple people died. It was like a big news story.
Yeah.
And it was literally just a wave, just a.
Well, it was before they had, from what I remember, it was just like general seating. So once they opened the door, it was just a
Pack 'em in.
Yeah, to whatever, first come, first serve. It changed after that. The stadium was, has since been rebuilt and whatever. But yeah, that's all I remember. That it was horrible.
And then you wanted to go see Sean Cassidy.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, let it be known that these guys were selling out stadiums
Oh, yes.
when they were doing their thing.
Yeah.
You wanted to go the next week or the week after or 2 weeks later or whatever, and your dad was using the Riverfront tragedy.
Absolutely.
He's probably just using that.
Probably. I was like, whatever, 9, 10. And he didn't think I should be going to a concert that young. But whatever the case, like I said, I auditioned for something. Before I met Sean, I auditioned for something that he was executive producing, and I went into the room and I was like, keep it together. Do not, this is not the time or the place. And I did. I kept it together, and that's why I fell apart when I met him.
What was your, I should have done that shit. I should have done that shit with my kids, when they were like 9. Like, we want to go to Disneyland after the Matterhorn tragedy? I don't think so.
What?
27 souls lost. No, you're too precious to me. Sorry.
We love you, Dad. Thanks for looking out for us.
Yeah. Everyone should just pick the amusement park closest to their home or the venue that you don't feel like buying tickets for or driving to, and just create
a tragedy.
create a massacre there, and then that'll be that.
Good idea.
So was Sean Cassidy. David was his half brother, I think, from the Partridge
Partridge family.
That's right. I was very, very as a young straight cis male kid growing up in North Hollywood. I was strangely invested in all these hot dudes too. I knew them all.
Oh, don't forget
Absolutely.
your boy Leif Garrett.
My
He
heart
was like
beats
a
still.
little bit of the edgy bad boy, whereas like Sean Cassidy was a little bit more innocent, right? Oh yeah, Leif Garrett is a cutie.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
That's a good question. Adam's the main.
He's hanging out at a methadone clinic. That was one of the worst interviews I ever did on Loveline with him. Boy, that was tough sledding. He was not doing well. I haven't seen him pop up in a while. But it's also, you got to feel bad. Well, Andre Agassi sort of figured this one out, but it took him a while. If you're a guy and you're literally, your business is your hair. Leif Garrett was Leif Garrett because he had hair.
Right.
Feathered.
He didn't have pipes. He didn't have musicality, but he had the right hair.
He did.
And if you had the right hair in 1977, you were in.
You were king.
You had the right hair. He had the right hair, but it started going on him fast.
Right.
Then this is your one superpower is your hair, and now it's 1986 and the hair's starting to go. So then you rock the bandana look, but everyone knows, oh, come on.
What are you hiding?
What do we hide? That's like when the porn star chick who's up in her later 30s keeps the bustier on around the midriff. Come on.
Wait, but I'm still doing that. I'm not a porn star.
Yeah, but you're not being paid.
No, it's just for my own.
There's a C-section scar. There's a stretch mark. That's the bandana on the aging rock star Andre Agassi.
Yeah.
His business was his hair too. He had his tennis racket.
Didn't he get a piece?
He had his hair, and then his hair started to go, and he was like, "Oh fuck, this! What do I do?" And I think he had maybe went with a piece before he went with the clean.
He embraced the buzz head.
At a certain point, but there's a transition.
Right. We just
Losing
can't
the
let
hair
go.
is like, coming out to your parents. It takes a couple of years, and
You think it's the same?
there's some awkward years in there where you're struggling.
Dad, what if you love my big, thick, luscious mane of hair, right? What if I was brushing it one day and just a few extra strands sort of end up on my brush? How would you feel about that?
You're going to end up like that couple that adopted that sheep. Now get out of here.
Hey, do you want to know who Leif Garrett dated in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Fucking everybody.
Well, of course.
Nicolette Sheridan.
Going all over Brooke Shields.
Yeah, Nicolette Sheridan, Christy McNichol, Tatum O'Neal, Justine Bateman. Like the queens of their day.
Yeah, we didn't even know what he did. But he had the hair.
Yeah. Well, he did Quaaludes.
And his name was Leif. And that's how he got by. Do you have a Sean Cassidy? Oh, God. Did he do Run? Right. They would all cover that. They would they'd have a pop song that everyone has covered. And anyone can sing it, and they'd give him that. But he also had a hit about dancing. Who did I Was Made for Dancing?
No, that wasn't that
Leif Garrett. I have it.
Oh, was that Leif?
That's what comes up when I look at it. Leif Garrett.
Leif.
I was made for dancing.
Oh, that was his hit.
He was, remember, and they would always, he would do like guest star spots on, not the Love Boat, but things like that, and it would be a monumental event to see him on some
pop up
early 80s, late 70s, early 80s show.
So was it the hair, the blonde hair that you loved?
I mean, again, I was a little bit younger, but there was something clearly sexy about him. And I didn't know about, anything about singing except that I thought he could sing and I thought he was hot.
Are you thinking of That's Rock and Roll? That was a Sean Cassidy hit.
Yeah, give me his hits.
It's Like Heaven. Are You Afraid of Me? Hey There, Lonely Girl.
Hey there, lonely girl.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey Deanie.
Oh, Hey Deanie was his hit.
Yeah. That doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, it's gonna in about 18 seconds because we're gonna play the shit out of Hey Deanie, won't you come out tonight? Lots of songs about trying to convince underage chicks to come out at night. Like, hey, all right, we get it.
Yeah, we get it.
Eric Carmen wrote this song, but
Eric Carmen had a lot of hits.
He was in the raspberry. Got a raspberry vibe to it. Interesting. He was in the Raspberries?
Yeah, and then he went solo with All by Myself.
Oh, wow.
Turn the
Hungry Eyes.
radio up.
Kid had
for
some
that sweet sound.
had some range, man. So, but you graduated. Did you ever?
I did.
Were you always into the teeny boppers, or did you start getting into the bad boys?
I got into the hair bands big time. It was all about guys with long hair and looked like Def Leppard and John Bon Jovi, but a few degrees.
a few degrees less successful.
Yes.
Did Bret Michaels have to do the bandana
well,
move?
He has
too?
his
have
hair.
to.
He does the bandana, but he has his hair.
Oh, okay.
That's the weird thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, mix you up.
What about Axel? Axel did it.
Also has his
yeah.
hair.
Interesting.
Kid Rock bandana has his hair.
Wow.
We got Leif with the hair. I mean, wait, the hair is.
Oh,
Yeah, he had that look. I mean, it was kind of sultry.
Yeah.
and like,
Look,
yeah.
all
I know.
all the hot dudes back in the day looked like chicks.
I'm seeing that.
They had the big puffy lips and kind of the soft eyes.
if you
and
just put that
long
picture up,
hair.
I wouldn't know what gender we were looking at.
They all had feminine features.
Very.
That's the whole thing. You either, if you want to get laid as a dude, you got to go whole hog sort of Dolph Lundgren, or you go 17-year-old Johnny Depp, where we can't even tell what gender you are. You don't come into the middle with me. You get nothing. These fucking you don't look like a chick. You don't look like a dude. There's all the guys who got the most tail were the feminine featured young.
Biebery.
They were like non-threatening or
Yeah.
something.
Inoffensive.
Yeah.
So what hair bands did you get into?
Well, I mean, those guys for sure. Def Leppard, all the Rat, Poison,
Rat and
Winger.
And you have
I mean, if I could be Tawny Katane, I
Oh,
would try to be
nice.
Tawny
Please,
Katane,
of
but
course.
I look nothing like Tawny. Like I can whip my hair around.
Oh, hell yeah, you can.
you must have some wildly embarrassing photos from that era.
Luckily, there were no camera phones, so I will neither confirm nor deny. But you
You had
use
bangs.
what you got.
You
use
got
what you got.
You got bangs.
Well, here's the deal. Like I was ridiculed my entire childhood for this hair, and then in the '80s, when everybody was paying for it, like suddenly I was the shit.
Yeah,
So
it's very like Kelly LeBrock at the height of her powers. hair.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's hot.
She's hot.
Did you again, the theme is it's all about the hair. It was. What era? I've said to you guys many times, you don't know from pain and heartache. You just know you're living in a time when anyone does anything with their hair. There is no hair style. There's just what fits you now.
Yeah.
And, I
Thank
see
God.
my son and my daughter, they come home. Their friends just all wear their hair however they want to wear their hair. And if you want to go clean shaven, you can go clean shaven. It just doesn't matter. There is no one style. When Leif Garrett was around and Bobby Sherman and all the big names, there was just one hairstyle. And if your hair didn't make it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You fucking stuff them in there like putting a St. Bernard in a tight sweater. You get in that fucking sweater, bitch.
Now you know what my Christmases were like.
Do it. Hair, you're gonna do what I tell you to do, but you never pulled it off.
Yeah.
You couldn't pull it off. Because genetically, you couldn't pull it off.
You should have
Right.
seen me trying to feather my hair then back in the day, because I would be like, it would be like this. It would be out here.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
You had to try, though.
Of course. Yes.
And then you look 10 times worse than if you just let your hair do the natural thing that
Left it alone.
that it would do, right?
Oh, the day I discovered mousse, my social life changed.
when you
that's-
let your hair do what your hair
I didn't even
what God
know
meant your
it was
hair
as
to do.
curly as it was until I was getting a cut one day, and the woman says, "I think you have naturally curly hair. Let's put this mousse stuff in it." Next day, the most popular boy in the class said, "Do you want to go out with me?" Like we were in the 8th grade, but I was like, "Yes." Got the lead of the show.
All right.
Oh
Your
yeah, no,
life
my life
changed.
changed. Yeah.
Did you? I had a breakthrough, cathartic, hair-based moment too, with an angel of a hairdresser from Supercuts in North Hollywood. We had the same trajectory.
Mine was not at Supercuts, but yes.
She said to me, I would go in there and I'd go, cut the curls off and like flatten it out.
Doesn't work that
It
way.
keeps standing up. Like you got to get, and she goes, I'll do what I got to do.
Wow.
She gave me a haircut and it turned into a fro.
She made you a man.
And I showed up at school next day. I didn't get laid. I didn't get the lead of any place or anything. I showed up and everyone's like, you got a perm. And I'm like, no, this is what my hair was supposed to do.
This is when I don't take a hairdryer to it.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was trying to go the Leif Garrett route. It wasn't working.
No. I looked exactly like Jennifer Grey in Dirty Dancing when I was allowed to have my hair the way it really was. So, Brian, I don't know where you stand on this, but the three of us really having a moment.
Yeah, I'm with Adam on that. There's a certain era, you know what I mean, that works for your hair. And luckily, I was a kid of like the mid 90s when like Michael Jordan started to shave his head and like shaved head started to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Granted, I wasn't cool, but at least the idea of being bald was acceptable culturally.
Yeah, there were two hairstyles for a girl. You go the Farrah Fawcett feathered, or you could go if you could pull it off. You could go with the Dorothy Hamill the short haircut. But that wasn't
like it's like a muffin top on your head.
Yeah, you and your partner are going to be adopting a sheep in a few years with that haircut. But it's so funny that we both went into places and they both said like,
"You're doing it wrong.
I'm going to fix your hair." Yeah, and did you try to dissuade the person?
No, because you know what? My mom was sitting there, and when she said it, my mom just jumped up. She goes, "That's it! That's what we're going to do!" And I just went with it. And
well, not mention the countless hours trying to flatten it out and blow dry it straight.
There was no flattening out. Straightening it, yes, but flat, no. So it was just, it would enter the room before me. And it wasn't like in my neighborhood, there were a lot of kids that looked like me and had hair like mine. So I really was kind of, ridiculed for it. And once I figured it out, I never did anything with it again. Like it's been curly ever since. It's too much work. Yeah, and it was one of those things where when my kids were little, and I would be filming something, and they'd straighten my hair for it. It would freak them out so badly because I just want to. I would walk in and scare my guy and just walk in with flat hair, and he's like, "Who's this?"
Yeah,
Sean Cassidy. Yeah, you know what you get penalized for in life? You get penalized for trying and not pulling it off.
Yeah.
It's not your hair the natural way it is. You get punished for trying to get your hair to do something it ain't going to do. And it's right. You're right. You can straighten it, but you can never get it to lay down.
No.
Oh, the guys. I was so jealous of the guys who would flip it out of the way. They just throw it like their hair would move. When you have hair like ours, it doesn't move separately from your scalp. Right. These guys would throw it back.
Oh yeah, those hairbands were hairbands for a reason. I mean, they make Tawny Katane was rivaled with their hair flipping and.
You know who the number one guy on Guys I Hate the Most with the flipping of the most hair? They know what they're doing.
Of course,
they know what they're doing. The G.E. Smith, band leader.
Saturday Night Live.
From Saturday Night Live. That motherfucker with his beautiful straight blonde hair and was always in the way. Like he was always throwing it. He'd be playing his riff on his guitar, and then he knew he was the coolest guy in the world because then the big long strand would fall in front of him and he'd have to get it out of the way with a shake of a head.
He was always calculatedly disheveled because it was pulled back in a ponytail, but just enough in front of
Just enough to throw it. Oh, he knew what the fuck he was doing. He got that guitar. He got the hair perfectly. It would always fall down, and it was always in the way. And I'd be like, get a fucking beanie.
Are you in a ponytail or not?
Yeah, if only there was a way to keep it out of your face.
No, he is my nemesis.
I get it.
See how much anger hair causes, hair envy causes.
Yeah.
And you should hate Jenny McCarthy.
Oh, yeah, sure.
She went on Oprah once. And I counted 156 times she did the one finger. Oh, my beautiful, lovely locks have fallen down in front of my face.
She's not the queen of that, and we all know it. The queen of that was Jennifer Aniston. Just the strand. Honey, and just the little strand.
Super mobile, movable. Supple,
shiny, and just.
But don't you know we women
silky.
talk? We're talking to you when we do things like that.
That's right.
There's every movement you do with the flip or a turn or a little pull or a tug or a thing. It's like we're communicating. Pay attention, and you might hear more.
I had that feeling with G.E. Smith. I was like, we're going to adopt a sheep together, bro. We're going out sheep shopping.
Talking to me
after the rap party. Yeah, you can find Jenny McCarthy on Oprah. She got that bob going, and she did that. So the other thing too is when you don't have when you got the Jufro, there's nothing you can't futz around.
No, please don't. Don't futz, don't putz. You can't, It can't be done. Like you said, you and your hair move as one entity.
That's right. The only time I felt free, the only time I really felt alive, when I had long hair and I was trying to mat it down all the time. Once in a blue moon, I'd end up in somebody's swimming pool. And I'd pop out from underwater and I'd throw my hair back and I felt, oh, this is what you do all day, every day. You're land-based.
Yeah.
And you do this.
Yeah.
I could only do it when I'm submerged.
You were like the Little Mermaid flipping that mane.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. I'd see mine flowing
Of
there
course.
straight and luxurious.
Underwater?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I feel like
Silky.
a mermaid. Yeah,
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
like take a picture.
Yeah.
I want to be where the crimpers are.
Right, please.
It was a big deal. And now it's indicative of where we've come as a country. Just do your thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
The hair's
Wanna
where it
live
ends
with a
with you.
fella and adopt a sheep. We're not judging.
And I'm not straightening my hair.
And you're not straightening your hair. Jesus Christ.
Nor should you.
The good thing is you always have it in your hip pocket if you want to look like a maniac for Halloween or something. All you have to do is get a brush out and start going at it hard, and whatever insane character or serial killer you want to look like, you will look like a crazed person.
Oh, it's great when I had a series called Gordita Chronicles that was on last summer, and it was what they call a period piece now because it was in the 80s. They didn't have to do a thing. They were like, your hair, we'll just put a bow and a ribbon in it, every once in a while, but they didn't have to touch it.
Oh, that's
so
so
it was
good.
nice to, know that my I left the decade, but my hair never left.
My 4th grade school picture is miraculously somehow a mullet and bangs. So they just cut like 4 inches from the side of my head to my ear. It was a shit show.
Yeah.
It was hard. I gotta find that picture.
how to do that. Yeah.
It was pre-orthodontia. This was just a fucking mess.
That I had going for me. My dad's a dentist.
Oh,
So I definitely grew up with
Lucky.
cream of the crop, perfect teeth. So that was
I can't
working for me.
imagine.
That was working for me. But my hair cost me a lot.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and do some news right after this. And by the way, this GE. GE's not a name.
yeah.
His name is
Gerald
like
Egbert.
George Escalante something.
Sure.
Come on.
Yeah.
Gave himself a cool name. Gave himself a haircut.
Yeah.
Picked up that Strat just to mock me. That was an attack.
It was personal.
Oh, you bet it was. He knew what he was doing.
What did you say his name was?
George Escalante.
Close. George Edward.
Yeah, G is way cooler.
Yeah.
He literally just said, I'm going to stand in front of a mirror and do the coolest thing I can do, which is play this guitar and struggle with my hair. Like,
That's
if only
right.
I could get a hand free. Like, I'm fucking shredding so hard, I don't have an extra hand. He probably had a hair valet, like a guy to come out there and move his hair back when he was
Put
shredding.
it back into place.
Yes,
Right.
that's
Put it
what I'm
up.
Where you
saying.
found
Take
it.
it out of the ponytail.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
because I put it right here.
Yeah,
Gross.
gross.
Well, we have some sad news, a bit of breaking news, at least for when we're recording this. Christine McVie, the singer-songwriter behind some of Fleetwood Mac's biggest hits, she has died. That was Wednesday morning following a brief illness. She was 79.
Hey, can I say
Yeah.
this? Big celebrities that were part of my childhood. I know you want your privacy and your dignity. I need a little heads up when you're sick.
Oh,
I
sure.
can't just, she's dead.
Be blindsided.
I need like 3 months. Like,
Not doing well.
It'd be nice.
she's not doing very well. Just some. I know you want your privacy and your dignity and solitude and everything, but you can't just boom.
Yeah. It's not fair
Gone.
to us.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be on stage and help introduce her when she and Lindsey Buckingham came out at the Greek, which was the highlight of my life. We did it at the
Nice.
Sound. And I have to say, I don't know where you all stand on this. Fleetwood Mac, I'm a big fan.
Huge fan.
Love, great. My favorite Fleetwood Mac song has always been Songbird, which I think is so underrated. You know this song, yes? It's Christine McVie.
Oh, I got to listen to it.
Love this song.
I never bought a Fleetwood Mac album. I always appreciated them as a good band.
Love the drama.
Doing Mick Fleetwood is a very interesting gentleman. I'll never forget the story he told me. He lived up in the Malibu Hills, if you live in the hills of Malibu, there shall be a fire that sweeps through.
Right.
It's every 7 years
Yeah.
or so. There's a big one that just sweeps through. We're always caught off guard, too. Like, what? There's a fire? Yeah.
It's called fire
It's
season.
a thing that happens every 4 to 7
Right.
years, so we shouldn't be surprised. But he was right in the thick of everything. And, of course, you could imagine what Mick Fleetwood's house looks like, you know?
Like a mosaic?
And he said, I took every Stratocaster and Fender bass and guitar and drum kit and everything I had, and I threw it all in the swimming pool.
Oh, my God, to save it.
Yeah, I mean, what if you had a sunburst, you know, Les Paul or something, and the fire was sweeping through, threw it all in the swimming pool, and the fire missed my house. Oh! And I thought, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Now, isn't it ironic, Alanis Morissette? That's what that means.
Yes, he threw her in the pool, too. She was in his house. And he said,
Smart.
get in the
Good.
pool, bitch. It'll fix your hair.
Well, you also have a Stevie Nicks story from the Foo Fighters.
Oh, God. Bull.
No, we don't have to get into
Okay.
that. Didn't she hand someone her sunglasses?
She handed Chris, will figure out, the lead guitar player
Chris
from the...
Shiflett.
Oh, yeah,
Chris
he's been on.
Shiflett. Yeah,
He confirmed
yeah.
this.
Yeah, she was doing a guest at the Forum, and she walked out to do. It was this most a diva thing I've ever seen in my life. She walks out to sit in on a couple of songs with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters, and hands the lead guitar player her sunglasses. Like, hey, boy, hang on to this. It's time for the pros to take the mic. And she didn't even know he was in the band. Although he was on stage with
Holding
a
a
guitar. So but she's
so
like,
good.
here, hold this shit. Here's my purse. Here's my sunglasses. Hold
Yeah.
this shit. We
Saw
gotta go
those
out.
on eBay.
We gotta go out and sing.
I remember Mark Thompson, when we were doing Mark in the Morning, had a story where on Mark and Brian, I don't know how long you've been out here.
I remember Mark and Brian, yeah.
So Stevie Nicks was supposed to come on, but she wouldn't come out of the green room. She wouldn't come out of the little radio dressing room because she was having like a freak out. And there was no way to get her on Mark and Brian until an intern who's like super hippy dippy came in, this like big giant guy who was like really into crystals, gave her like a little satchel of like crystals and seeds, and they had like a meditation together, and he was the only one able to get her on.
Genius.
Mark and Brian.
Well, I'll say this. You know, most people that are in the crystals and the gypsy shit and all the holistic this, you know, and they need to borrow $800 to pay off their Discover card. You're like, maybe this shit ain't working for you.
Yeah, maybe you're spending too much money on crystals.
But you got to give Stevie Nicks a pass.
cheap.
That's
Like,
right.
maybe the shit is working for her.
True.
She's had a pretty good run.
She has. Yeah. That's a good
You
point.
wouldn't call her, you know, a fool for all her crazy
Oh,
hocus
no.
pocus.
No.
You go, it seems to have panned out.
And wasn't she? I'm trying to think of the Jimmy Iovine documentary. Wasn't she dating him too?
Yes, I think she
Like they were
moved
checking
into
up.
his
Yeah,
Malibu
yeah.
home or something like that.
Yeah, she's had quite a life.
Yeah.
Anyway, Christine McVie will be missed.
Yes, he will.
Let's talk about what New York City Mayor Eric Adams is doing. Adam, I don't know if you've talked about
I
this.
know. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this. He's giving outreach workers, police officers, and first responders discretion, their own discretion, to hospitalize people with severe mental illness who are living on the streets, even if the person doesn't want it. Adams said on Tuesday that it's a common misunderstanding that we cannot provide involuntary assistance unless someone's violent, suicidal, or an imminent risk. The mayor also added this group cycles in and out of hospitals, cycles in and out of jails, and that's it. USA Today reports that Adams is laying out his 11-point mental health agenda for the upcoming legislative session. As part of the new measures, city officials are authorized to hospitalize people who pose a risk of harm to themselves, even if they're not a threat to the public.
Yeah. Well, first off, speaking of hair, he could have never been elected in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
He was a bald-headed weirdo. He would have been a Bond villain. We would have elected. Are you kidding?
Blofeld.
Yes, the city that had Studio 54 going, think they would have elected a bald guy? But they might have elected a black guy, but they wouldn't have elected a bald guy.
Preposterous.
Preposterous. So that's how far
And
we've
Kojak
come.
was ahead of his time.
Yeah, but
Oh, for sure.
Blofeld.
Yes,
Play Blofeld.
Yes.
that's right. All right, listen. I have news for every elected official. Everybody who sleeps outdoors on a regular basis has a mental and or drug issue. That is it. That's why you sleep on a sidewalk in a box. That's why you do not have a friend, a loved one, a coworker, or somebody you've met in the past whose sofa you may surf on or couch you may surf on. It is. If it's not 100%, it's into the high 90s. All these people need to be taken care of. The fentanyl deaths now in Los Angeles are like through the fucking roof. You people who are saying, oh, I'm an advocate for homeless. Are you an advocate for pets and you just let them sleep on the street? Like, you need to get the fucking pet into a shelter and they need to get some shots. They need to be nourished. Like, you being an advocate of letting people roll in their own filth and fucking stroke out on the street after bad fentanyl dose, you're not an advocate.
Yeah.
Secondly, people don't have the right to just camp in public ground. You don't have the right to pitch a tent in a park. You don't have a right to park a Winnebago on a curb in front of someone's house in Venice. Nobody has any. I don't know who got empowered with all these rights all of a sudden. We live in a fucking place where if you lit a cigarette on the beach, you would be tackled by a fucking law enforcement person. What do you mean? I have the right. You don't have the right to drive around without a fucking front license plate in Los Angeles. What do you mean your rights? You don't have any fucking rights, much less camping on somebody's lawn or in the sidewalk in front of their house. They all need help. Get them the fucking help. Jesus Christ. I will play you a guy who has pretty excellent hair. I got to admit it, but I'm not a fan. Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom was in the studio in 2013. We're coming on to a decade ago, explaining he was passionate about the homeless situation. He was the only one who was passionate about it. And then he had to explain to me what the homeless situation was.
That was my issue, homelessness, and my passionate efforts
to
deal with homeless. That's an issue that no one cares about in this country. I care deeply.
Well, listen, the thing about homeless people is they're either junkies or they're crazy or they're both. This notion of like the guy's a hardworking, God-fearing family member who lost his job and now had to take to the streets is total and utter bullshit.
But what about the picture?
All right, hold on. I just told him what the homeless problem was. I just told him a decade ago what the fucking homeless problem was. Crazy people and junkies. That's the homeless problem. That's all of the homeless problem, but not Gavin. Oh, he had a little different take on the homeless problem, which, sorry, you can wind it back 10 seconds. Who lost his job and now had to take to the streets is total and utter bullshit.
But what about the picture of real homelessness, which is a poor mom with 2 kids with a husband who took off and left her, who's sitting there struggling on that minimum wage job, and all of a sudden now is out in the streets and sidewalks desperately trying to find some help, get her life back, can't get those kids into child care.
I think that's what happened to
Can't
Jewel.
afford them. That's the tough thing.
Yeah, that's
and
tough.
that's a picture of family homelessness in this country.
That's a postage stamp. Picture of homelessness. Someone with a fucking full-time job whose husband left. Fuck off, Newsom. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. There's something wrong with him. I know he says it all the time. But it's like if somebody said to me, you know what the problem is? We got the bubonic plague. There's rats everywhere. And you know what the real problem is? Polar bears. Downtown LA. And I'm going to go after them. It's like, you got a guy who's setting policy who is talking about something that doesn't exist when I was telling him what does exist, which all you assholes are finding out now. So Gavin Newsom has now signed it. I don't know. What did he sign? He just signed something. The problem has to get way out of control, and then at some point these people get hit in the fucking face so many times by reality that they have to go, well, I guess the dick with the frizzy hair from 10 years ago may have been onto something when he was telling me. He was telling me the real face of homelessness, the real. He's such a fucking empty vessel. It's crazy. We vote this guy in every fucking 4 years.
But Adam, even you have to admit, when you drive to work, all you see are women in their 30s with
their kids, their young children who are fully. They work full time. They're just making minimum wage. Yeah, that's who's sleeping on the sidewalk.
And that's
fucking idiot.
That's what I've said so many times. Like, we don't treat animals this way. We don't leave sick animals on the street. It would be we would riot before we would do that. And that's why I don't understand. We've talked about this so many times. I don't understand the homeless advocates, because this is somebody's family member. This is somebody lost touch with this person who deeply cared about them at one point. We don't just leave them on the street like trash, but we do here.
They've all burnt the ties with the family and the friends. They've all burnt that bridge. They didn't go from wherever they were to sleeping on the street. They all did the couch surf thing. They all did the move back home thing. They all did the inflatable mattress in the basement thing. And they were on drugs and they were stealing from the people. And at some point, the people kicked them out and there was no place else to go. And now they're on the street. Dawson, you have that article, by the way?
Yes, it says, with more than 100,000 people living on California streets, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a first-of-its-kind law on Wednesday that could force some of them into treatment as part of a program he describes as CARE, but opponents argue is cruel.
Cruel. By the way, the self-appointed experts, you know, I'm an expert on race, I'm an expert on homelessness. Who the fuck appointed you an expert on a group of people or a problem?
I'm curious to know how you force someone against their will, unless it's jail or like a 5150 kind of a situation. How do you force someone into some kind of extended or long-term care?
I mean, the same way I guess you would if you said, like, you just went out to the Burbank Park and said, I'm putting pots and pans out and I'm setting up. And like they'd tell you, you got to go somewhere. You got to go. And it's all the problem is it's very sticky and shitty. There's no doubt. It's basically this. You have a house. Houses sort of need to be maintained. You know what I mean? You can go paint that fascia every 5 years. Get out there and it won't be that tough a job if you do it every 5 years. But if you just walk away for 50 years, you're gonna go, but it's termite and the paint's bubbling and the wood is rotting, and it's like, yeah, it is. We're fucked. This is a big deal now. If you can take care of it sort of one camper at a time and one thing at a time. But because we mishandled it completely, spent billions of dollars, got nothing in return, had idiots like Gavin Newsom with his policy about the mother of three and it completely mismanaged and misguided and miscalculated the whole thing, it is now officially a shit show. It is. We're now going to have to get up there with a sawzall and start pulling off that fucking old fascia. And you as the homeowner goes, this is a big job now. It's like, it is. It needed to be managed. It never was managed. The people that were the home improvement experts, the advocates for the homeless, they were fucking retarded and idiots, and we should have never listened to them. Just because you're loud doesn't make you right.
That's right, Adam.
Ironically, I just yelled that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because we'd have a handful of unemployable. Who the fuck has time to go down to the Santa Monica Civic Council meeting at noon on a Tuesday and get super loud about homeless advocacy? Fucking people that should be homeless. I mean, who are these? And they'd show up and they'd start shouting and go, I'm a self-appointed. And we'd go, all right, well, we got to listen to these people. All of us were just at work paying taxes. And now it is going to be a shit show. But your fascia is going to be a shit show on the side of your house. But what is the choice now? It's like now it's an operation.
Yeah, back to the analogy, it's like you let the problem go long enough. You have to consider measures you may not have considered 10 years ago, forcing people into treatment who need it. You might have 10 years ago, it may have been an opt-in kind of thing, but now it's to the point where something's got to be done.
Well, we can't have insane people and junkies just sleeping strewn about the city. It's just we can't have that.
The hope is that there's something there that helps facilitate getting them to get help, because you're right, they're there for a reason that they can't control, and they need help. They're humans. They're their lives.
Yeah, you're not helping the human by letting them sleep on the sidewalk and getting a fentanyl. That's not. I know many people that got sober by going to prison.
Yeah, we get that story a lot on the show. It saved
they
their
didn't
life.
want to go to prison, but they did get sober there.
Yeah.
All right, one more, Gina Grant.
Well, let's talk about People Magazine's People of the Year. They've named their People of the Year for 2022, and I will go down the list with you. Matthew McConaughey. Why? Well, his response, he was really, really vocal after the shooting in Uvalde because he's from Uvalde. And he met with victims' families and traveled to D.C. He was pushing for gun reform. He really came to the forefront when that happened, and so he's being recognized for that. Emmy winner Quinta Brunson, who created Abbott Elementary to bring all of those groups together. Emmy Award winner, got into a nice little tiff, a little back and forth with Jimmy Kimmel, who decided to flop. Speaking of flop out during her acceptance speech.
Guy's got a problem, man.
He really does. He needs to.
Eric Adams needs to scrape his ass up and take him somewhere.
Mila Kunis used her platform to raise money and collect aid for Ukrainian people, and you think, oh, okay, whatever. How much did she raise? $37 million for Ukrainian refugees.
In Ukrainian dollars?
Okay, so it's more like $27.
Most of that was from one guy who wanted to fuck her. That's what I heard.
Is that what you heard?
She's still, God bless her, it's $37 million more than me.
Yeah.
But that's what I heard.
Money's money. Was it green?
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay, that's right. And finally, Jennifer Hudson became the youngest female EGOT winner. Started her own daytime talk show to create a platform for everyone, she says, so we all have a place to be included. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony winner.
Where do you go from there? She got 40 more years on this earth.
I know. Good luck with her.
She dropped the weight, never got fragged for it.
No, I think that was that Weight Watchers?
Yes.
She was an ambassador.
Yeah.
And she did great. She talked about people with hardship.
Oh, yeah.
She's
seen some stuff.
And that's like, it's not like, oh, it's all behind me. That was before I was famous. In the middle of her, like.
No, as she was just breaking onto all these platforms, this horrible family tragedies. I don't know. I've never met her. I respect her greatly and admire her. And I feel like she's done, in her young amount of years, she's done amazing things.
Yeah. So. And they always say that, like, it's not.
But she never got shit. Some people get shit for losing weight.
Yeah.
She didn't get shit for it.
No.
Good for her.
Good for her.
It's a philosophical question.
Okay.
Dawson, you're a single guy. What if I said, I'd like to set you up with this gal? She's an ambassador for Weight Watchers.
Ooh.
Now,
She must have been successful.
definitely successful.
Yeah.
Definitely successful.
Why do they still need her?
She's an ambassador. That's all I'm telling. She'll wear the sash and bring the scepter. But is this good?
She gainfully employed, or
I don't know. All I'm saying is she's an ambassador for Weight Watchers.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. You have to think about that.
That being said, if it wasn't for me watching my points, my shit would be out of control. So God bless her.
I'm a fan.
Are we still doing Weight Watchers? Is that still a thing?
Yep.
Who's we?
Well, I mean,
the girl in this room that you're talking to, or people in general?
I've changed my life.
Yeah.
It was either that or look at type 2 diabetes. So
yeah.
All right. How much weight did you lose?
30 pounds.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I never really gained it back. But I had gestational diabetes, so I was twice. So I was susceptible to type 2 diabetes, and my doctor told me if you don't do something now to reduce the odds of getting type 2, and I went to Weight Watchers, and that was, I didn't want to go. My manager was going, and she said, "You want to go with me? And we'll make it a contest between the two of us." So we just made it, she offered me lunch afterwards, and I said, sure. Went.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long you been on it?
I wouldn't say that I'm technically on it anymore, but it does teach you how to look at food as far as for me, portion.
Yeah. Because everything, that's why they say everything's allowed, because everything's assigned a point value. So you can have it, but you're cutting into your points for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. So it's not like if that's the philosophy you subscribe to, there's nothing off limits. You're not depriving yourself. You just have to make choices because it's going to be a point value.
I'm a Jenny Craig dude, but we'll agree to disagree. My mom, you're reminding me, my mom would never sign up for any of that shit, but she would go to Overeaters Anonymous.
Oh, really?
Oh, there was...
So much for Anonymous.
OA.
Right?
Low response.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, Al-Anon, and we got a lot of Anonymouses out there for me to yell into this microphone. But I was like...
Did you ever go with her? Did you ever have to go?
I was a raccoon in the dumpster of life looking for food. Then I was scrounging for food. I don't know where her overeating came from. There's nothing in my fridge. Maybe she ate it all. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe she ate it all and then went to the meeting, and then I opened the fridge and there was nothing there. Yeah, I was always looking for food. But yeah,
I didn't mean, did you ever have a problem? I mean, was she ever did you ever tag along?
No, but that was the name of a good cookie.
Yeah.
That I wish she had. She ate
Which
the
they
whole
still
box.
make, yeah.
She
Did
ate
she
the whole
say-
goddamn box of tagalongs.
Did
and
she
then
say, this is a great meeting? I wish there were s'more.
S'more. That's right. Why can't you be a Samoa? I want Samoa tagalongs. Yeah, the problem that the people that have it, there's a small group of people that have some kind of non-relationship with food.
It's weird.
And it's almost like it's maybe the same group that kind of has it with sex or attraction or partners, which is like, I could get laid or not get laid. I can go 6 months or whatever. I'm not going to. Because the ones that are really got it bad, they get into trouble. You know what I mean? They go out of town. They start looking for escorts. They get ripped off. They get a venereal disease. They bring it back home. Like, it's trouble. I probably met, you guys tell me, have you met 3 people in your life, in their life? My dad's one of them. There's just no relationship with food.
So weird.
Most have been through the show, Angie or Brian or Andrew.
Right. Yeah.
They have no
Growing
relationship.
up with Jews, I don't have that many people in my life who have no relationship with food.
I find myself,
I can't think of one.
you have a relationship with food because you start building your day around it. Start talking to them. What are we doing for dinner tonight?
Well, you're eating lunch.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
And you start going, hey, Saturday, why don't we go? And it's like you realize you're building, and the
Your day
people that
around
have the best are the people with just the non-relationship.
They can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You have to remind them to eat.
I
fucking hate those
I
people.
fucking I was so busy today I forgot to eat. I'm like, that is, first of all, you're lying. Second of all, like, that doesn't sound like much of a life to me. You know,
Right.
I
Like,
want
what were
to
you doing
appreciate
that made you so busy that you would forget
Thank
to
you.
eat? I can do a plenty of stuff and eat an entire bag of chips without giving it one thought.
Are you a sweet or salty person?
Both.
Yeah, I'm a salty person.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, like, sugar is my
Sure,
nemesis,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Producer Angie in the morning show just,
Oh, it's so weird.
what was her greatest hits?
Oh, God. That's a long time ago. Like, she would turn her nose up at, like, the most benign food, peanuts.
The first one was Rainier cherries. Angie would not eat
My
Rainier
feeling
cherries.
is,
loves
look,
Rainier
if you're a weirdo, that's your thing.
Yeah.
Don't put it back on me, because you talk to those people and they get really feisty. They go, oh, really? Who eats cantaloupe anyway? You go, I don't fucking know everybody. They go, really? I haven't seen you eating cantaloupe. Look, this is your fucking weird, shitty thing. Don't turn it back on me being a weirdo because I know what cantaloupe tastes like. They literally have never tried anything.
So weird.
But then, like, she loved, like, Starburst or Red Vines.
Yummy
No,
stuff.
I'm not a candy person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I could take that or leave it, but I like pie.
Dude, Thanksgiving was a whole thing in our house.
Yeah.
Somebody brought there's so many pies, but somebody brought a homemade, home-baked lemon meringue. And that shit was gone.
I got to tell you, we never talk about it. The best part of a pie was brought up to Olga, my nanny, last night. There was a pecan pie left behind, and I got into it. I guess she was getting into it, and she says to me last night, she goes, what is the part of that pie with the center part, the gooey part? And I'm like, nobody knows.
It's 10,000 calories per spoonful.
Best
Is what that
fucking
is.
fingerful you're ever gonna get. And she's like, what is that called? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's the best. And then she's like, it's the best. It's not the crust. It's not the pecan. It's the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
The
nobody
goo.
knows what that's derived from. No one knows what's in that. I don't
Get
know
a
what
bottle of Caro syrup and say, this is it right
Exactly.
Is it nougat? No, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But she went, that's the shit. I was
Yeah.
like, you ain't wrong about that. The other thing is that she doesn't know what chutney is.
here. She doesn't need to.
Chutney's fallen by the wayside.
Isn't it just for Indian food? I think
Yeah.
it's for Indian food.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a choice between pie and chutney.
Thought there was
Oh,
a
I'll
chutney.
take pie.
No, chutney's good with Indian food.
That's what I
No,
know it
yes,
from.
But only Indian.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
only know it from Indian food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olga doesn't know what it is.
Oh, weird.
It's like a sweet relish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. A little orange or something. I don't know. Angie would never like chutney.
Please.
Fuck no. She wouldn't even walk on the same. She'd cross the street rather than pass an Indian restaurant, right? There's no fuck. How much would you gamble that producer Angie wouldn't eat Indian
My
food?
life savings.
Everything.
Double up.
Let it ride.
Double up.
What if I said I'll give you 10 cents back on every dollar? Mortgage your house tomorrow.
I'll take it.
on Indian food.
Yeah, whatever load you can give me, I'll wager it.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
It's weird.
They're always skinny. They're always happy, and they don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think about it.
Yeah. Ugh. All right.
A lot of pastry chefs are like that too. They're always like tiny, petite.
Oh, yeah.
They
The
love
Christine Tosi, the one from
They love
from Milk
baking,
over here.
and what's her name? Gianna, with their big
Gianna.
smiley
delicious.
face,
She's
making
a
more
cutie. She's
making
darling.
carbs all day, just just carb loading all day. Their little
Give me
petite
Paula
ass.
Dean anyway.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
day with her, I in a garden.
That's
Ina
right.
Garden.
Yeah, she's good.
Absolutely.
All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Jonathan Kite's coming in here tomorrow, who we always love. I'm going to be in the Rialto Theater in Tucson doing stand-up December 15th, and we're all going to be out in Tempe, Arizona at the Improv December 16th and 17th. You just go to mcrow.com because there's all sorts of live shows. Working Blue with John Popper coming up. So go check that out. Dead to Me, I recommend this show highly. It is very good. And Hey Deanie does an amazing job in this. Just a very watchable series. It doesn't stress you out, but it's got intrigue and it's got laughs too. And it's just a very watchable series. So that's on Netflix. And Deanna, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And until next time, this is Adam for Deanna and Bald and Gina saying mahalo.